The anti-corruption court in Kampala has sentenced flamboyant businessman Apollo Senketto to 10 years in prison for his role in the theft of 24.7 billion shillings for upgrading the Mukono-Nyenga-Kisoga Katosi Road. Senketto's co-accused were sentenced to 5 years in prison. They are Jose Mugoma, the former Director of Finance and Administration in the Uganda National Roads Authority (UNRA), and Wilberforce Senjako, a former UNRA accounts assistant. Justice Lawrence Gidudu said Apollo Senketto was the mastermind of the multi-billion shilling fraud by opening an account without powers of attorney from Etau, Mississippi, which he claimed was the firm contracted to execute the road project. Justice Gidudu, who heads the anti-corruption court, said the evidence presented outweighed the mitigating factors, so the trio should serve a custodial sentence to send a clear message to other corrupt people. Defense lawyers had argued for mitigation, asking for a lenient sentence or a fine, and not custodial because the convicts were family breadwinners. However, Justice Gidudu said that court needed to send a strong message that stealing taxpayers' money was reprehensible and those engaged in such vile acts should pay dearly. Senketto was found to have sent about 17 billion shillings to his co-conspirators in the US and spent the remaining 7.7 to service his lavish lifestyle in Uganda.
One of the reasons that the lawyers of Senketto gave to court in order for him to get a lenient sentence was the fact that he's still pursuing a degree in theology. Thus would be enough for him to reform as a person. But Justice Gidudu ruled that just like St. Paul, after turning into Christianity, while in jail, he wrote letters to the Corinthians, Galatians, Colossians, among others, and thus 10 years in jail for Senketto would still be enough for him to continue his Christian life.
The judge also explained that former UNRA officials Jose Mugoma and Wilberforce Senjako should stay in jail because many people in UNRA lost their jobs because of their theft. The judge also faulted the duo for choosing to look away instead of reporting the invalid securities Senketto presented as guarantees to enable the release of the 24.7 billion shillings. Prosecution had appealed to court to compel the convicts to refund the money. However, Justice Gidudu said no engineering audit was done to quantify the roadworks and the loss. He said that whereas prosecution said 24.7 billion shillings was lost, roadworks worth 7 billion shillings had been executed. Senketto's lawyer, Peter Mlira, questioned the judgment.
A person would know that Senketto is being victimized because this court has to convict somebody to show the donors that the fight for corruption is justified. This is not justice, and I'll never come back to this court.
This man is by no means a fraudster. He's not a thief. He's not all those things that the honorable judge has called him. Think about this. 7 people were accused. 3 people have been convicted. Of those 7 people, is it really possible for what they say is a scheme to happen on their own?
The defense lawyers said they would appeal the judgment. They now have not more than 2 weeks to file the appeal. Former Works Minister Abraham Byanala and 3 others were acquitted in the same case yesterday. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.